Okay.
Going. Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So I wanted to thank you again because I know that we're officially started our interviewing for the podcast, and
Okay.
I wanted to let the listeners know who I'm speaking to and tell me a little bit about yourself and the story behind your mission. What are you currently doing? What is your journey?
Okay. My name is Reva Stewart. Na shashan shlump, but Athni Bashishin Kiani Dashite Toheglini Dashino. Although I define as a Navajo woman, my name is Reva Stewart. I'm born for the Bear Clan. I am Navajo from northern New Mexico. We are part of a team called Stolen People, Stolen Benefits, and I just started an organization called Turtle Island Women Warriors.
Wow. Yeah, thank you. Uh, it's an honor, like I said. I am so, because this is something like you mentioned before we started recording, that this is something that has not been in the public's eye, or it is, and it's been a blind eye turning in regards to the dire need of having this information and to cease uh, how the indigenous community in Arizona are being shuffled through a fraudulent organization or facilities and targeting them because they are homeless and that they are affected by the drugs that are going on in our society. Um, but I wanted to tell the listeners a little bit, like, if you could explain more about how your mission started. I did read a little bit about you, and that you with started this organization closer to the 2022. This you started noticing that there was a lot of
Yeah, I
inclination of that. Could you tell me exactly how you started your mission?
okay. I've always advocated for our Native relatives here in the Valley. I had did that during COVID, and they needed help, so I did that one on my own. I would drive all over the valley dropping off COVID boxes. So I always advocated. I did Standing Rock. I've always did something for our Native people, and I would always put up posters for our MMIW, our MMIP people. And I noticed that all of a sudden I was getting an influx of missing people um, from our Navajo Nation. And then I started looking and I was like, okay, why are these people going missing all within the same time? So during that time, I also noticed that I would go outside time to time of work, and was at that time catty corner to the Phoenix Indian Medical Center. So I started seeing vans just circling, and I was like, that's really odd. So I just kept an eye out for it. And then I seen a van stop at the bus stop. So I was curious. I was like, okay, I've got to go ask. So I did ask a gentleman who was sitting there. And I said, can I ask you what that van wanted? They stopped by to, right here in front of you. And he was like, yeah, they asked me if I needed a ride or if I needed a place to stay, they would help me. And I said, what was your answer? And he was like, I just went to my appointment. I'm going home. So when he said that, I was like, oh, okay, that was weird. So I started taking pictures of these vans and I just kept an eye out. And then I got a call from my family in New Mexico to keep out for my cousin. Mind you, I have not seen my cousin in over 30 years. So they're like, she may have gone down there. We don't know. Just, keep an eye out for her. We'll do a missing persons report. So I said, okay, I'll keep my eye out. And I was wondering, why would she come down here? And I think it was like 2-3 days later, my family called me and they said, we think she may be here. Can you go verify and see if it's her? And that was like late evening. So I went up there and it was her. It was her. So I verified it with the family. The family was already driving down here from northern New Mexico. And so I started asking her questions. How did she get down here? You know, the who, where, when, why. And she told me that they had told her she was just coming down for a day trip to Phoenix. They would take her home the next day. And when she asked when she was going home, they said, "Oh, no, you're staying. We want your information." And she refused to give them her information. She's like, "I'm not comfortable giving you my information." And because she refused, they just kicked her out in the street. So during that time, she said she spent all day trying to figure out how am I going to hitchhike back to Farmington, New Mexico, which is about 8 hours away. So she said they had told her, "Here's a blue pill. It'll help you sleep." When I had seen her, she wasn't intoxicated. Her she has, alcohol, issues, but she wasn't on alcohol that day. So I knew she was on something else. I just couldn't pinpoint it. So I kept asking her questions, and she told me they gave me a blue pill. And I was like, okay, that explains why you're just not, something's going on. And so when she told me that they had, kept asking her for her information and she refused, I was like, okay, so they're bringing people down here. They're asking for their information. So once I had reported that out on social media, that this is what I experienced, and I'm seeing these vans at that time, there was a lot of social media reports of people in white vans on the reservations. And that was geared towards watch your kids. We don't know why these vans are here. And so when she told me, I was like, okay, that explains it. They're picking up our people, and why. So when I started, posting it on social media, more people started reaching out to me. I'm missing so-and-so. They said they were going to a treatment center. So once I put that out as well, I just, it just snowballed from there. I didn't realize how bad it was. To this day, it's still huge. So that's when I put 2 and 2 together, and that was about that time. So, we were out looking for our missing relatives. Family would call me, "Why is my father's body up in Chicago when he went down to Arizona, to Phoenix for treatment?" And they found his body up in Chicago. She said, "We have no family there." So you get all of these stories, and I did reports on them. I would write everything down. And this is before I actually got a form to write it down on. Before, I was just writing it on paper because I was just like, okay, somebody has to know what's going on. And I attended some ad hoc meetings. These are the health committee meetings on the reservation. And I told them what I saw. And they're like, okay, I went to legislation. This is what I saw. These are people who are reaching out to me. These people are missing. And there was a lot of men that were going missing on the Navajo Nation, a lot of men. And I said, it's just it's just in a cluster between a certain time. And I was like, why are they all going missing? We'll look into it. We'll help, thank you. Keep doing what you're doing. And from that point on, nothing really hasn't happened. We did a march May 5th of last year. And not too long after that is when they did the press conference with the government that, this is a scheme. We see it. We're on top of it. We're going to do this. And from that day on, I get they're doing the fraud investigation, but there's no humanitarian part of this that they're looking into.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, that's something that I wanted to have shared to other listeners, that it's not something that's just started. It's been happening, and I think because of the pandemic situation, it has increased its visual. People are starting noticing more and more about what's really going on. Um, but this is a epidemic. I've mentioned that many times when it comes to dealing with the, MMIW, MMIP relatives and two spirits that are involved in these types of situations where n another group of people, I won't say specifically, but we're quite aware of who they are. They're trying to erase your traditions and your culture and your existence. And I want to be along with the other voices that this needs to stop. This needs to
Yeah.
be this needs to be ceased. We don't, this is, this is heartbreaking. This is heartbreaking.
Yeah. And there's no accountability for it. There
Right.
is ability. Um, we say over and over, I have a team of four now. I'm grateful I have a small team of four. We're boots on the ground. We go out there and we do outreach. We check on our Native relatives. People are reaching out to us from all over. I just got a call from South Dakota yesterday afternoon. She had not heard from her daughter since last year of 23. For me, just within minutes of you getting online, I had to tell her daughter passed away.
Oh no.
So this is just within minutes that we found her on the medical examiner's case to tell them, mother and family.
Mm,
She's been gone since June of last year.
mm,
And that's the last time they heard from her. So when you do this day in, day out, it's heartbreaking because we shouldn't even be in this um phase of having to tell them, oh well, your family's deceased now because they went to a treatment center when they
right.
were, when
Mm,
somebody's going to tell you, I want to help you, I'm going to put you in a treatment center, and you jump at that because you want to change your life because, hey, somebody's offering me the help. Maybe I can help myself. Maybe I can do this. And for them to turn around and say, here's, you can have alcohol in the morning, alcohol in the afternoon, evening. Oh, well, here's fentanyl. This should help you sleep.
mm,
Um, to, we probably have, I don't, last count was like over 2,000 deaths
mm,
because of this. And as far back as it has been, um, I'm still looking. I look in the obituaries. I look on the county medical examiner's list. I also look in the transient list because on there I found out that if they die, it'll say that they died in a sober living home,
mm,
but family never, notified. So, and not being in the field, this is not my field at all. I just happen to wonder why this was happening, why my people are going missing at an alarming rate, and why people were coming down from Montana, South Dakota, North. We just helped two people back to Alaska as well.
mm,
So you have all of that, and you wonder why was the oversight so huge with the government? How did they allow this to happen if they knew back in 2019, 2018 that, oh yeah, we knew like 10 years prior to this. So that gives you, another reason to say that we're still in genocide because they're taking our native people. They're allowing people to, take advantage of our native people,
mm,
introduce them to a new drug, and now they either die for from taking the wrong pill, that, you know, they get kicked out of these homes without identification because these people hold all their information, all their stuff. So now they're homeless, they're unsheltered on the street, and it's 115 degrees outside. So you're going to die of heat stroke and nobody's going to identify you.
Mm. Mm. Yeah, this hurts my heart that there's consistent, I guess I'm going to put in my personal understanding and information. It's that every time we come together and try to find a way to prevent and bring awareness to something that's happening to our community, um, there's they seem to have like this other idea of using an alternative. Well, if we can't attack them and we can't erase these, the indigenous community or the Black community in this way, we're going to find another way to manipulate and exploit them and to take their culture and to erase their identity. Um, it's almost like no matter every time you try to close one door and try to control and bring out your voice and vocalize and bring awareness, there's another play that they're doing on the side. It's an endless fight to protect our community. And I am glad that you're taking the opportunity and the mission under your wing and saying that this needs to stop. And I really do hope that more people are listening and that they'll take up in their voices with you and your organization to help as much as they can, because this is never going to stop until people actually take it serious.
Exactly. Exactly. In fact, I had a meeting this morning with the congressional team from Washington.
Mm.
So if Washington's going to listen, by all means, I'm gonna keep talking. Um, maybe they're the people that I needed to go to above Arizona, because I feel like, Arizona has made it embarrassing because they're still allowing it to happen. The other day there was a conference and they're now like setting it aside to, well, we can't investigate the sober living homes. That's somebody else. But yet a year ago you said this is what's happening. This is one of the greatest crimes, that's happened to Arizona. But now you're saying, well, we really can't do anything. You know, who's being held accountable for all the deaths? Who's being accountable for our people that are still missing, that are being trafficked? Monday we had a meeting as well with the Phoenix Police Department, and we mentioned, our people are being trafficked, and the one officer said, trafficking means prostitution. And we're like, no, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. There's a definition for trafficking. So we gave that, definition to him. And it's like, we've been doing our homework. We've been doing our homework. One of my team member, again, Raquel, has lived in these homes. And every time she's said that, she would confront them. This is not right. How come you don't have this? They would kick her out. She never knew, what was actually going on. She thought, well, they want to help me. I'm trying to get the help. But yet they kept kicking her out. And then her brother went missing. And I, the same way, I went through the medical examiner and we found her brother last May. She's now on my team. She reached out to me and we talked. So now she's on a mission because they took her brother. I have Jerry who works in the field, You know, she works with Native American fathers and family wellness. And she has been such a great help because she knows she's a business developer, also manager, but she works on the inside where she sees all of this and how it's affected so many people, and how we go on searches, you know, we have to look for people. So, and then I have Jared, who reached out to us because he, you know, he was finding people, didn't know what to do. So we have a team of 4 now that we go out, we advocate. If we see something, we say something, we record it, we report it. You know, I report it directly to the FBI, report it directly to Access. So they can't say they don't have any reports, because I have the actual reports that I send. It's documented. It's I document the day that I sent it, the day that it was scanned and sent to them, so they cannot ever say that they didn't receive it. Recently, I've been getting emails finally saying that they did receive my reports. I'm on my 6th box of thousands and thousands of reports. So for me to finally get within this month, you know, FBI and Access to say, we received your reports, thank you. From what, going on 2 years.
Yeah, that's something that frustrates me, knowing that they're not taking it serious. And it's not like it's something that it's not a priority. It is a priority, and I don't think they're seeing it that way. I I am I'm just dumbfounded that this is continuing to be like they're continuing letting this, allowing this to happen. And you said, even when you mentioned that they've known it for decades, that's that even infuriates me even more, to know that they have let this continue and thinking that no one's not going to notice. And
Yeah, and we're
yeah, and while we're waiting around trying to find, we're sending out missing posters to our families to find out that they have been involved in this scandal, this scamming, fraudulent, exploiting organization where, um, you know, and then you're finding their bodies are in a different state. It makes me so I'm so upset. I am so upset that this is they're allowing this to happen.
exactly. Last weekend, we got a report, and this is, you know, again, when people reach out to me, I reach out to the different tribes. Now I have like advocates that are in Montana, South Dakota, North Dakota, New Mexico, you know, California. I had a New Mexico advocate reach out to me. I have a lady, you know, she's from New Mexico. She says she was in a home in Arizona, but they took her to a home in California. So when the house shut down here, they took her to California, put her in a home there, and they walked away from that home. Those people that took her walked away from this home, turned off all the utilities. She got sick and ended up in the hospital. She's in California not knowing what to do, you know? So we got on the phone with the hospital. We set it up to where, you know, because, you know, this was a crime. This is, you know, this criminal activity. They were able to help us get her to the train station, and we got her a train ticket to get home to New Mexico. And then the advocates there took over. So it's just, we're very fortunate that other people are now seeing this as advocates, not the tribal governments. Because we have Navajo Nation, right? I'm Navajo. I've reached out to Navajo Nation so many times. They had this huge forum in May of last year, when they did the press conference, oh, we're here for our people. We're here for our people. We're Operation Rainbow Bridge. We're going to have this forum. So they asked me if I could talk, and they were like, okay, you have 2 minutes to talk. 2 minutes. You think I'm going to get all of this out in 2 minutes? So, but make sure you say Operation Rainbow Bridge. And I was like, so you guys want me to say Operation Rainbow Bridge in the 2 minutes that I have to talk and, bring this out and, bring awareness to this. You want me to say Operation. And I kept saying it over and over to them. And they're like, as long as you say Operation Rainbow Bridge. To this day, Operation Rainbow Bridge has gotten funding from the tribes to help people home. They've only helped 8 people from May of last year to October. 8 with a $5 million budget. We don't have a budget. We've had to do GoFundMes. We've had to beg people online. We've had to use our own money to help get people home. And to date, they said, they're piggybacking off of the 211 option 7, which is the government run. Hey, we'll help you if you are in a facility, but you can only use this one time. You have 3 days to figure out what you're going to do, and we're going to kick you out. So they can't utilize 211 option 7, but Navajo Nation now is saying, oh, well, we got transportation, but you got to use 211 option 7. So it's frustrating on that aspect of reaching out to our own tribal government. We need your help. I've said that over and over. How can we get the 570 odd tribes on board and see why our people are going missing so fast? Again, just like South Dakota, they just reached out to me yesterday. I had to confirm the death today. No, as Native people, we're not supposed to be looking for death. And I've literally have hundreds and hundreds of deaths that I've been looking into. I go to each mortuary and find out, okay, well, were they in Phoenix this time when they passed away? So it's a lot of like investigating, and I do that on my own time. It's something I want to be able to tell the family. We know where your loved one is, instead of them, because I did ask a detective at Nair, and I said, well, with our people missing, and a lot of them are in the county cemetery, how do we go about letting the families know? He said, well, with DNA. I said, okay, with DNA, how can we get that? How can we get that cross-referenced so our people know where their loved one is? And he says, it's too expensive. Doing a DNA test is too expensive. I said, so the people that are missing, their families that are looking for their missing loved ones, will spend thousands and thousands of dollars looking for their loved ones, when you couldn't cross-reference $300-400 to see if they were in a county cemetery. And there are lots of them in that cemetery, and they're all identified by a PVC pipe with a case number.
Yes, I have some connections for you. I know our time is ending, but I would love to continue our conversation with another. I can send you another link to continue.
Okay.
But I have some connections for you. A lot of things that you're hitting on, I will give you as much as I can, because I do have a lot of connections through previous conversations with other organizations that are running a line with what you're looking for. So let me send you another link.
Okay.
It'll go through your email address.
Okay.
And then we can continue on, probably working with the prep questions or any other things that you like to talk about. But this is something I want to get this out as quickly as possible, hopefully next week, Thursday, because I drop my podcast on Thursday. So, um, but let's talk more. Let's
Oh,
talk more, please.
all right. Well,
Oh,
bye-bye.
yes, ma'am. Okay, so we're back. Like you said, Reva. Um, yes, there was some of the things that I wanted to address from you explaining that to have to be in such a situation where you have to take control of something that not that many people are understanding the urgency or and in turning towards your own community and asking for help. This easy that hurts your heart even more because you're depending on that, knowing that there is an urgency for it, knowing that it's affecting all the communities uh, from this exploitation and taking from them. I wanted to kind of dig dive deeper into what we're specifically talking about, how this is affecting and what is happening to the people that are being affected by this and the communities that are being affected by this. So I know you identified that you're from the state of Arizona and that you've had many conferences and opportunities to reach out to other organizations to ask for help. And um,
Yeah, we as a team have reached out to so many people, regardless if it's government, tribal government. We've reached out to the community, and the people who are helping us are the community members, not the government, not the tribal governments. It's our own people that are, willing to donate, willing to bring us, snacks, because we do hygiene kits and stuff, because we go out and do outreach. So while we're doing outreach, we want to make sure that they're okay. If they need to get to detox, get their information, have they spoke to their family members? Do they have a phone? If not, use our phone. And that way we can, eliminate the missing persons poster. So when we do that, it's been frustrating. Um, when the government reached out to us, I think it was in November, we had a meeting with Access. What can we do to help you? What can we? And we told them, but this is fraud. That's all they concentrated on was the fraud part of it. Okay, we know the government wants their money back. Of course, the government's going to want their money back. But where's the humanitarian part of this? Where's the compassion of knowing that you allowed the AZDHS, which gives out the license, to hand them out like candy? How do you allow that and justify that and be held accountable for that? Knowing that they found, during COVID, this American Indian Health Plan to, the fee for schedule. Wow, this is a lot of money. We're going to get paid back from the federal government. So we're going to allow all these people to get licensed. And there's a community of 200 homes, gated community. They had over 65 of these sober living homes in that gated community. And they thought at that time, are we the only ones that see this? What is wrong? So I have so many people in the different cities here in the valley that have reached out to me and said, we've been fighting since 2019, 2018, trying to bring this up to light. Nobody listened to us. And there you are, it only happened to you because you saw it and you spoke about it on your, now I'm their go-to person, it's like, so that puts a lot on my shoulders because it's like, okay, I do get tired, but I always think if I can help one more person get home, that because they all have a name, they all belong to somebody. No, they cannot say they're alcoholics. Regardless if they're alcoholics, they're either a mother, father, grandfather, grandmother, auntie, uncle, brother, sister, they have family members. And as Native people growing up, I was always told you can never say you're homeless because you just go back to the reservation. You will have home there. So we encourage our Native people, to go home, but at the same time, when they say we don't have anybody, do you want to go get detox? We do have success stories of some of them going home and or getting help and now wanting to advocate with us because they seen, okay, well, we were able to get help because you guys helped us. We want to be able to help you back. So asking for help has been hard, and it ends up reaching back out to the public because they're the ones. I mean, for a while there, it was coming out of our pockets, these bus tickets, these plane tickets, these train tickets, and it gets to be too much. So we've been fortunate that we can put it out on social media. We need to get somebody home. We need this amount of money. Is anybody willing to donate? And if it's even $5 or something, it does add up. This 2 weeks ago, we needed to get 2 people home back up to Farmington, New Mexico. And I think it was like we needed $366 to get a 2 bus tickets. People donated, and we had like $400 or $500 left over after everybody donated. So we were able to help like 3 more people get home. The one from California, get her on the Amtrak to get back to New Mexico, make sure she had food, make sure we, all of these things we had we do, not because we have to, but because we want to make sure they get home.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Yes. I'm wanting to have other people that are listening in to know exactly how they're able to contribute to the cause. Or if there's anything else that you'd like to share that we haven't, that would be in detail. Because not that many people are from Arizona, and you've identified some acronyms like ACCESS, and specifically,
What is ACCESS?
yes, ma'am.
ACCESS is the Medicaid plan. It's it's a Medicaid. Everybody has a different name for their Medicaid plan, their Medicaid system in their state. Ours is called ACCESS, Arizona Containment Cost System. I think it was Arizona Health Containment Cost System is what it's called. So that's our Medicaid plan. So the American Indian Health Plan fell under that, and there was a fee for schedule, and I'm sure it's the same thing, fee for schedule in all the different states. Because we're in Arizona, because we saw this, they have lowered the American Indian Health Plan. So then you have, okay, so they took away the American Indian Health Plan or lowered the fee schedule. But you got these con artists. Well, now that we know we can get money here, and they lowered it because they were getting paid up to $1,800 a day per person. And some of these people kept them in there for 2 years, 4 years. And then we're wondering, okay, how that goes back to the oversight. How did you not see that? How did you not see that you're paying billions of dollars? And then you paid in 2000, I think it was 2018. You knew at that time $42 million or something. Now you're up to $2 billion. Where's the it just flabbergasts me, because it's just like, how do you not see that? How do you not, where was the oversight that big of a, it's not chump change, it's people who want the money, who got greedy and said, okay, I can get more money, so I'm going to bring more people down. So when you see this happening, and we're trying to stop it here in Arizona, now they're trafficking them to California. They did it initially in Florida, Nevada. Now they're doing it in California, South Dakota, New Mexico. So I'm always trying to tell, everybody, look into your Medicaid plan. If you see people missing, look into the Medicaid plan, because we don't have the American Indian Health Plan. It's been lowered. They're now going to the Obamacare, the Blue Cross Blue Shield. Who's going to look into that one? We figured that out, because I was like, how are they still recruiting? They're using another insurance. And we go blue in the face trying to explain that to everybody. They're using this new insurance, the Obamacare, and it's also getting paid by the government too. So, where's the disconnect? But I do have, I started a 501c3. Unfortunately, our budget in there is only $44. But I started it because I said, this is not going to be the only time that our Native people are going to need help. Again, I helped when COVID happened, but I did that all on my own. This time it's huge. And I was like, okay, it's called Turtle Island Women Warriors. So you can go onto my Facebook site. It's turtleislandww.com. You can report there. You can donate there. There's different ways of donating there to help our cause. So.
Yes, thank you. I did not know. I mean, I've read a lot about, since I think, was it last year, November, I started seeing some articles about it. And that's when I started, I think that's right around the time that I started reaching out to you. And I know our schedules have been, life, gets in the way of our schedules. And I'm glad that that we were able to take this opportunity to talk more about it, because I did not know how extensive and how bad it has come.
Yeah.
And this is proof that they're fighting every way possible. These crooks, these people who are taking advantage of the people that are wanting to find help, who are finding service, they're at the bottom of the bottom of their choices in life, and they feel like there's nothing else to do, and someone reaches out a hand and an opportunity to make a change in their life, and then they get screwed again. And
Exactly.
that's just so infuriating.
Yeah. And that's what I ask, if anybody listens, that look into your Medicaid plan. If you see people missing, it may not just be our Native relatives, because under this American Indian Health Plan, they were putting people of color, people of, our Caucasian people, all on this plan because of the oversight, so everybody all of a sudden has this Native American Indian health plan, and they're not Native. So once they targeted all our Native people and they couldn't get enough of us, they're going to start adding more people on because nobody was questioning it. So it just like snowballed into this huge thing. Then who is going to get total control of this before we lose too many more people? Or is this a way to eradicate us? But it's not going to happen.
Yeah. That's something that, now that, just talking about it, it's not just affecting one community. It's affecting all of us.
Yeah.
And it is affecting the people that are disproportionate communities, and different disparities. Uh, Even, the Caucasian group that are probably considered low lives, and nobody's gonna think of them. Nobody's not gonna think,
Missed it.
find them, miss them, care about them because they've run this life of being on the streets and living, doing things to survive. And this is um this is serious, and I'm hoping that people who are listening to this conversation, that it's not, you don't turn a blind eye on it, because you probably know someone in your family or someone who is a friend, um, who is connected with being in a homeless situation. I was homeless. I mean, it affects me personally. My son was homeless. He was on the street and he was involved in drugs, and I was able to get him off the street. But that's like the slightest scenario where you're able to do that. Some people don't even have the ability to even find their children or find their family members. So I'm asking everyone and anyone who is interested in donating and supporting this cause, to go to the proper links and do as much as you can, because this is the tip of the iceberg, as they say. We need to stop this as quickly as
We,
possible. It's affecting everyone.
it is. It very much is. And it's unfortunate that, we're in this day and age where it's still happening. You hear about, oh, well, that was the past, but it's still happening to this day.
Yeah.
It is still happening, and it can happen to anybody. It can happen to someone, like you said, in their family. They're going to go missing. What are your first thoughts now? Is like, I hope I instill that. Look into your Medicaid system, check and see if there are sober living facilities they're not sober living facilities, they're flop homes, because all they did was just house our people in these homes without ever giving them treatment, without ever, they just basically um, shortened their lifespan by allowing alcohol, by introducing them to drugs. Because now, if you go on to, you can also go on YouTube and look under homeless in 602 and see all the stories that, he now asked, were you in a sober living facility? Were you in one of these homes? And they will tell you, yes, they introduced blues to me,
Mm.
and it's so sad, because these people, hey, I'm going to keep you. So here's an added drug. I'll give you this. It'll make you feel better. They
Mhm.
don't care. All they care are about the dollar signs. And the
Right.
government, it's getting their money back. That's what they're worried about. They're worried about the fraud aspect of this. They're not worried about the humanitarian or being compassionate to, anybody who's been affected by this. And that's what I always say. I may be nobody, but I care about our people. Hadn't I not seen what I saw and not spoke up about it, where would we be today? Nobody wouldn't know.
Hmm. Yes, exactly. Exactly. That's why it was an honor to speak with you, because you have the passion to, and you noticed something. You are acknowledging, you saw something and you're doing something about it. And that's why we need so many more people like you to get involved in situations like this, where we're being trafficked, we're being exploited, we're being used, and like you said, our lifespan has been cut short because we're taken advantage of.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, this needs to stop. This needs to stop. So Thank you again. Did you have anything additional that you'd like to add? Or I mean, we can come to a closing if you prefer. Do you have any
Yeah.
questions for
You,
me?
um, if you see something, say something. Don't be afraid to say anything, because once your voice is heard, we need tons of voices out there. We need tons of people to say this has to stop. Just like you said, this has to stop.
Mhm, mhm. Yes, it does. Um, Thank you so much again.
You're welcome.
I
Thank you for having.
absolutely. Like I said, it's an honor. I don't know how many times I have to say, but it is always an honor to speak with people who are like-minded, who have that mission, that drive, the awareness that is affecting our communities. So, but like I said, I'll stop the recording,
Okay.
but we can continue to talk after. So.